Hey everyone, welcome to today's lesson, which is a live Q&A all about phrasal verbs. So this is an opportunity that I just like to take in order to talk more directly with all of you, answer some of your questions, and the focus of this lesson is phrasal verbs. So please, as you are writing your questions, if you have things you want to ask, let's try to keep it about phrasal verbs because I like to focus these conversations in on one topic in particular. And the reason why I chose phrasal verbs is because recently I've had quite a few questions from people in the comments asking me about different phrasal verbs, and it's something that's very challenging when it comes to learning English. And there are different reasons for that. The first one is because phrasal verbs, many of them, they can have different meanings. So quite often a phrasal verb will have multiple meanings. Sometimes they can have not just more than two, but three or four or five meanings. I recently, a while back, I did a phrasal verb about pick up. And I talk about 20 different meanings for this one phrasal verb. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to throw it right here in the chat and talk about this. So this is a lesson I did a while back about the phrasal verb pick up and the 20 different meanings it has. So that is one reason why phrasal verbs can be really confusing. And the other one, I think, is because sometimes they can be separable or inseparable. For example, if a phrasal verb is intransitive, which means that it does not take a direct object, like I get up, which is similar to like when you get out of bed. I get up at 6 o'clock. Then that sentence, there is no direct object, so you can't separate the verb and the preposition. Other times, if the phrasal verb is transitive, in which there is a direct object in the sentence, then that can be either separable or inseparable. So I know they can be very confusing. So I want to just give a quick hello to some of you who are with me today. Hello, Aiden. Good to see you. David, what's up? Carmen, Black Wolf, Jessica, Sabor, Jonathan, Vicky, hello, Gustav. So thank you guys for joining me. If you have questions, just throw some of them in the chat. I will try to highlight them. I've also put together a vocabulary document. So as we discuss individual phrasal verbs, then I'm going to add that to our list. And what I will do is I will take this list, and once the lesson gets posted, I will put all of these phrasal verbs down in the description below in case you want to review about the meaning of these phrasal verbs. So hello again, who? Rod, hello, how's it going? Good to see you. So if you guys have any questions, like if there is a phrasal verb that you find confusing or maybe a sentence that you know of, throw that in there and I will put that on add that to our list and then talk about the meaning. But again, they can be, these are very tricky phrases. So, well, the first question, I think Vicky, Gustav brought up a good question about, well, what does a phrasal verb mean? All right, so the difference, a phrasal verb is when you have, it's a verb, the part of speech is a verb that is made up of both a verb and a preposition. But when you have those together, this verb and the preposition, the meaning changes that is different from the original verb. Okay? So, for example, let me think of the phrasal verb, like let's say the phrasal verb, I'm trying to think of a good example. Okay, look after, all right? Look after is a phrasal verb. The verb look, the meaning is, again, you're looking at something and looking at it with your eyes. Now, look after is a phrasal verb, and the meaning changes because look after means You're taking care of something or someone. And that's what I mean by that. When you have this verb and preposition together, the meaning is going to change. The meaning is different than just the verb alone. So let's see. Listen, Luciano, get through versus go through. Okay, excellent. So if you have some of these other questions about differences, then we can write those down. So to get through something, what I think most commonly would be used is you have some work that you have to do and you're trying to complete it. You're trying to just complete this challenge, this obstacle, and you, like, for example, you're taking a class and like, oh, I really hate this math class. I'm just trying to get through it. Now, to go through means it makes me think that you are looking for something, that you are searching through some materials and you are going through it. Maybe you're going through a book looking for specific information. And in that case, you might be going through it in order to find information, perhaps to correct it. And that would be the difference between those two. So I'm going to add that to our list. And I'll fine tune these a little. So to get through, I'm just going to say is to like endure a challenge or hardship. To go through would be like to view something or even revise it. All right. So let's go back and see if I have some more questions. Let's see. We have, so David Tracy, what's the difference between finish off and finish up? Okay, those are some good ones. So if they say that you are going to finish, well, let's see. I need to finish off. I want to say most of the time you'd use it like you're finishing something up. To finish something up means to complete it. That you are trying to end this thing. Like I have to finish up my work before I do something else. To finish off something, it makes me think of a very informal phrase of like you're trying to kind of, kill this thing, put a stop to it, and you're just trying to finish it off. But I don't think that's as commonly used, but I think a good phrasal verb would be like finish up. In that case, finish up. You finish something up is to complete something, all right? And usually you would use it in the context you're completing it and then you'll do something else. I'm just trying to finish up and then I can do the next thing. To finish off, I would say, is to stop, maybe eliminate, or I don't know, destroy something, and you're just trying to finish it off. Because I think you could use it in the context actually of maybe you're drinking something. For example, I have maybe this water bottle and I'm drinking some. Somebody wants to have some more, and I can say, no. You finish it off. Finish it off means you complete the rest of it. All right. So in that case, I think when you're talking about somebody using up the rest of it, then you could finish something off. But to finish up, I think, is more common when you're talking about work, something that you're doing, an activity. Because I would not tell somebody this bottle like, oh, finish it up. I would say, yeah, people would say, oh, you can finish it off, you can complete it. Let's see, what else do we have? Trying to think. Sorry if it's going quickly. Low up, end up. Could you explain for the preposition for instead of to in the sentence? I'm heading back for New York. Is it correct? Yeah, is it? Michelle Leonardo gave the sentence, I'm heading back for New York. In this case, I think heading back for something, it means that you're back to would be you're returning. I'm going back to New York. And back for something, it makes me think you're returning, but in order to do something. So heading back for the house. I think a lot of times they would be interchangeable. Like if I said you have to go back to your home, like, oh, I'm heading back to the house, or I'm heading back for the house. I think most people would use back to. You're going somewhere, you're heading back to this place. If you say back for, I'm heading back for, I'm trying to think if you want to talk about maybe you are, I'm heading back for something you're going to do, like maybe you're going to go take a rest. And that's the reason why you're going back. Like, oh, I'm heading back for a quick rest. I'm going to head back for a short rest, and then I will continue on with my day. So back to, again, you're heading to this direction. Back for makes me think there is a purpose. There is a reason for going this place. So if I say, I'm heading back for New York, I think it sounds a little awkward. I would say back to New York, unless you would give a reason like, oh, I'm heading back. Well, you'd still say I'm heading back to New York for something, for a meeting, or for some purpose. Aiden asks, like, brush up. So that's another good one. I'm going to throw it. Sorry, maybe I forgot to add that last one. So to brush up, means to, I'd say almost to like review and familiarize yourself with something you have already studied. That, for example, like a language, I think it's common you could use that when talking about learning a language. Sorry, there's brush up. And if you're learning English right now, maybe you take a break and you stop for maybe 6 months, and then you want to start again. You might say, well, I need to brush up on my English. I need to go back and review some and get comfortable using it again. So in that case, I think of something that you've learned, something that you've studied, or perhaps even an activity that you have done in the past, and then you want to brush up on it. It means you want to do it again and do a little more practice so that you feel more comfortable with it yet again, to brush up on something. That is a good one. Excellent. Let's see. Orlando asks, what does it mean to hurry up? Okay. I don't know if you're asking that or with my explanations. I know my explanations are a bit slow. But if you tell somebody, again, to hurry up, it just means to go faster. You're telling somebody, hey, hurry up. And usually you're saying this in that there is a lack of time. That if you have a time commitment and you need to go somewhere, you need to be somewhere, you might tell somebody, hey, hurry up. And in this case, it's one of those situations in which you could say we need to hurry or we need to hurry up. The meaning is really the same. You could use either one. But I think of hurry up used in the context of time, you're late for something. Oh, we need to hurry up. Let's see. What else do we have? Yes, Lala gave it a good example. I have to brush up on my phrasal verbs. This is a good lesson if you want to brush up on your phrasal verbs and kind of review and get some more practice. Let's see. Open Little Water and Perp ask about open up. So again, this brings me, I just had a thought about maybe a future lesson. So open up is a similar situation in which you're just talking about to open. Sometimes you could just use that interchangeably with that verb. Like you could go to a store and ask the person, hey, tomorrow, what time will you open up? It means the same thing as what time will you open? So to open up, again, it means to just open for business. And I think that's a very common situation in which you would use that to open up. If you're talking about a store. Now, you could, again, I told you phrasal verbs have multiple meanings. So let me add the other meaning. If you're talking about opening up like a person, so open up could be like a store, to open, or if you're talking about a person, means to, I would say, to express your feelings or emotions. So, for example, you may use it in the context like for some people, you could say it's difficult for them to open up. It's difficult for them to, it's like they're opening themselves up and expressing their feelings, their thoughts, their emotions to open up. So that is that's a good example of a phrasal verb with multiple meanings. Let's see, what else do we have? Sorry, it's moving quickly. Where is it? Claudia asks, what's it? Lean back. So to lean back, I'm trying to think if there's another multiple meaning. So let's see. I'll write that down. Lean back is just to recline. And I think that somebody might lean back in their chair. And in that case, they're talking about, you're describing what they're doing, that they are reclining back in this chair. Or maybe people might lean back to get more comfortable, but often I think it would be used when people are sitting down inside some type of chair and you say, oh, you can lean back. Think about an airplane. All of those seats, they recline. So you could say some people want to lean their seat back. They want to take the seat and recline it back. And sometimes, because I'm very tall, that can bother me sometimes. If the person in front of me leans their chair all the way back and then it just hits my knees. So yes, that is a good example. I think when you think about airplanes and flying and those chairs, they lean back. Let's see. Where else? Mustafa asked about bail out. So to bail someone out means, I'll write that down right here. In this case, bail out. You're talking about bail out. I think you could kind of talk about it to save or rescue. Rescue someone. For example, if somebody has a problem and somebody helped them solve that problem, you could say that they bailed me out, that they came to my rescue and they helped me, they bailed me out. Or if you're talking about in a more specific context, if somebody goes to jail, you could bail someone out of jail, and in that case means to get someone released from jail. So to bail someone out, it could be either one, depending on the context. If they go to jail, then you could say that you bailed them out of jail. And in a way, you did come to their rescue and you saved them. Or you could also say, in just talking about a problem like, oh, I had this... I needed to go travel somewhere, but my car was broken. It was in the shop. My friend, they let me borrow their car. They really bailed me out, that they were able to help out and rescue. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Hello, Lolly. Perfect. New member. Thank you for joining and becoming a member. That's something I mention at the end. If any of you guys want to get a membership, support what we do, there are some different cool rewards that we offer. You can do that on YouTube or Patreon, but I will let you know about that a little later on. So let me see if I can find some more phrasal verbs. Okay, I'm going to try to get with different people. Amintni says to pass out or pass away. That's a good distinction. So if you say that somebody passes out, it means that they they faint. And to faint is when maybe it's really hot and you just and you pass right out and you kind of go unconscious. Or maybe I think it's often used if somebody's drinking, they're drinking a lot of alcohol, then maybe they will pass out later. They fall asleep really easily and they just pass right out. To pass away is it's used to talk about somebody who has died. That if somebody dies, and I think it's a little more of, I don't want to say, not like necessarily a polite way, but more of maybe a gentler way of saying it, because the word die can sound pretty pretty intense a little bit, depending. So I think oftentimes would say like, oh, my grandmother, she passed away a few years ago. To pass away in that case would mean that somebody dies. So pass out, I'm just going to add that to our list. To pass out would mean like to go unconscious, or suddenly maybe sleep. Like if somebody's drinking way too much and they pass out. To pass away just means if somebody were to die. Let's see. We have, let's see. Joe already asked about the stress of the phrasal verb. I want to say a lot of these verbs, it really depends. Many verbs are just one syllable. So I still think I don't think if you're talking about stressing the verb or the preposition, the stress, I think the emphasis would really go on the verb, because that is the main part of sentence, like to pass out. But I feel like even when I say it in a normal sentence, like, oh, somebody passed away last year, maybe there is a little more of an emphasis on that main verb over the preposition. Again, it really depends on the situation when it comes to intonation and emphasis of what you're trying to say, who you're talking to, and how much how much feeling or emotion that you want to put into it. But I feel like that if you're choosing prepositions in general, those are function words. They're not really going to receive any type of stress or emphasis in general. Let's see, what do we got? Claudia, double down. That's a good one. I want to talk about that because I feel like that's something that maybe you might hear lately if somebody doubles down. So you would double down on something, and if you say to double down, sometimes I think it might even be hyphenated. To double down, and in that case, I don't know if it really be a phrasal verb. Maybe it's not. It would just be a... So to double down means to reiterate, and I would say to reiterate means to say again your same position, and basically refuse to change your opinion. Let me give you an example. So if somebody takes a position about something, I'll just do something that's more maybe innocuous and less harmful, like, oh, school uniforms. Maybe some people think school uniforms are really bad, and other people think that, oh, there's a lot of value to school uniforms. And I come out and I say school uniforms are terrible. And then all of this information comes out saying why they're good. And instead of me changing my opinion, I double down and I say something, no, they're terrible, and you're not changing your opinion, you're restating your same position. And usually you're doing this after there has been criticism or people are trying to show you like, hey, look, in this case, you're wrong. In this situation, you're wrong. You should change your point of view. You should change your stance. And somebody refuses to change, and they double down, and they say the same thing again. Let's see. So Sajad asks, I'm just going to choose one of those. To fight off. That's a good phrase for it. So to fight something off, it makes me think of, well, the COVID-19 is obviously everybody's familiar with the virus that's going around. So I think of to fight off means to try and resist something, but often like a cold or maybe a virus. So if you are sick and maybe you have a cold and you're trying to fight it off. You're taking medicine, you're drinking a lot of water, you're trying to get as much sleep as you can, and somebody asks you, they say, oh, how are you feeling? You could then tell them, look, I have this really bad cold, and I've been trying to fight it off. I've been fighting it off for a few days now. So to fight off means you're just trying to resist and kind of fight back this cold, but it's often used in that context. So let's see. Lolly asks, what's the difference between finish up and end up? Is it the same meaning? No, I would say, like, again, when we talked about, let's see, am I on the vocabulary page? Yes. So to finish up is when I think you're talking about work, or you need to get something done and it's almost done. And you say that you're trying to finish up, or perhaps you tell somebody like, look, I can't do this thing. I still have some work that I have to finish up. And in that case, you need to complete it. When you end up somewhere, I often think of like a destination, that you are traveling, you are physically going somewhere, and you talk about like, we decided to go for a walk, and then we ended up downtown. And that is the point where we found themselves. So to end up, I think often I'll add it with somewhere, because you're talking maybe about a place. Then you end up somewhere that is the destination that you reach. Destination, I'll say where you find yourself. Because the reason why I say that the destination where you find yourself, because I think people would use end up in the context of that maybe that wasn't the plan. That you went somewhere, but you ended up somewhere else. And that was where the destination you were. So that's why I said where you find yourself, because maybe you have these plans and you talk about things where you go, but you end up somewhere else. So let me give you another example. Maybe you go out to visit a friend, and you're like, oh, I went out and I had dinner with my friend, and the next thing you know, we end up at this dance club and we are dancing all night. So in that case, that is where you ended up. That is the location where you found yourself. You ended up at a dance club. So to end up, again, I think about some kind of location, a place, whereas to finish up, you're more of an activity or work. Let's see. Henry says to pitch in. All right, to pitch in, that's a good phrasal verb. If you talk about somebody pitch in, it means to help out or offer some assistance. So in this case, I think of somebody like, I think of maybe a family, and a family that has kids, and perhaps they want their children to help out around the home. They want them to maybe clean their room. They want them to help wash dishes. And you'd ask them to pitch in and say, look, I want your help. I need you to pitch in. The other thing I'd say, you're offering help and assistance within when working as a group. I often think it's really, if it's just two people talking, I think of a situation in which a group of people are working to do something. Maybe it's a team, and everybody needs to pitch in. They need to do something to help out, to support. They need to pitch in. Let's see, what else do we have? All right, a couple more. I'll do several more, but let me see. Try Anthosius, Soloitis. Sorry if I mispronounced names. To call out. So, I just realized there is a mistake there. So let me see. Can you guys see this? Okay, let me move this down. To call out has a couple meanings. To call out would be to, I don't know, to yell, to yell to someone, and you call out their name. So I think what you're probably thinking of is not just like, oh, you're calling out to maybe your animal, your dog is outside and it's away, and you call out to your dog because you want your dog to come back. I think there are other situations in which you might call someone out. So in that case, you could call someone out on something. And in that case, if you call someone out on something, you are pointing to some mistake they made, or some maybe hypocrisy. Whoops. Let's see. Okay, so if you call someone out on something, it means like, yeah, that they did something that was wrong, and you point that out, and you say, I'm going to call you out on this because maybe this person does not do the things that they say others should do. And it's like, I'm going to call you out on that because you don't do these things. Why are you telling me that I should do this? And you call someone out on, it could be maybe that somebody tells a lie and you call them out on their lie. So it basically means you are bringing, if you call someone out on their lie, I'd say you're pointing out that mistake, but you're bringing attention to it, that you are acknowledging that, okay, look, you shouldn't be saying that this is wrong to call someone out on something. It's a good phrase. Let's see, what else do we have? Abdallah says to buckle down. That is that's a good one too. All right. So if you're talking about buckling down, wait a second. Let's get to the next page. So to buckle down just means to get serious about doing your work. All right. So maybe you have something that you need to do. I think of parents maybe would use it to talk about children in school, and that they want to tell their children that they need to be serious about their studies. And my parents would say this to me all the time. They'd say, son, you need to buckle down. You need to get serious about your work. You need to buckle down. So when you tell somebody to buckle down, I think of you're telling them to get serious with their work, so that they do a better job. And it's more so like kind of advice, or maybe in my parents' case, perhaps a command saying, look, you need to buckle down. You need to get serious. Stop goofing off. So let's see, what else do we have? Mahmoud says to doze off. That is another good one. So to doze off means to kind of like you're falling asleep a little bit, but I think it's like you're taking a very short nap. Or it could be to the point where you're getting ready to take a nap. And maybe sometimes as a teacher, I would see students in class, they would do this. I don't want to say they do it all the time, but sometimes you'd see them and they're very tired. They're like, oh, and they start to doze off. They're dozing off. Yes, you could hear Emmy. She walked through the room. I was going to stop her to have her come by, but they just went on into the next room. But yes, that is her. Let me write this down and add that to the list, to doze off. Oh, wait, you want to say a quick hello? So, yes, she's growing so quickly. She's growing so fast. What? What are you doing? All right. She's been walking a lot more, so now all she wants to do is just get down and run around and run. So where were we at? I was getting ready to add doze off to the list. So doze off is like to nap, or the point at which someone starts to nap and they are dozing off. But that is a good phrasal verb to know, to doze off. And the reason, again, this is very useful because we use phrasal verbs all the time. And I understand as a learner trying to learn this vocabulary, it can be challenging. mostly, like I said, because for many of them there might be multiple meanings. It depends on the situation. But I think that the more you read, the more you listen, you'll just start to understand these naturally. So even doing this lesson, you guys just, us talking about these phrasal verbs and reviewing them, it's going to help you in the long run the next time you're having a conversation and you want to use some of these phrasal verbs. So, well, thank you for everybody's like, Emmy. Hello, Emmy. She's so cute. Thank you, guys. So let's see. What else do we have? Rosalinda asked to run around. So if somebody is running around, it could be used in a couple of different situations. So to run around means to, I'd say to run in, well, to run around. To run, it could mean, like it says, to run around something. But I think if most commonly, like, oh, we need to run around and do some errands, I'd say to go around to different places. All right. So I use that example, like you might tell somebody, oh, today I'm just going to run around and do some errands, which means you're traveling to these different places. You could say that you're going to run around like a track or a field, in which case you're talking about actually running. But more informally, if somebody's talking about plans, things they have to do, maybe they could say, I've been running around all day and I'm very tired and I feel like I'm going to pass out, to review that other phrasal verb. And in that case, if somebody's been running around all day, then they've been going to these different places and doing a lot of things, in which case you know that they are very busy. Let's see. Aiden asked to come up with. So to come up with means to create or create a new idea or plan or let's say create a new idea or plan. So this is a 3-word phrasal verb, and I think of it as when people are brainstorming and you have a group of people and you need to come up with different ideas. You need to think of different ideas. You need to create different ideas. So I'm going to add that. Think of or create a new idea. Think of, I'm going to say, I'll think of new ideas, modifying this as I go along, or create a new plan of action. So that's good because, yes, there are 3-word phrasal verbs. And in this case, you want to come up with something, you want to create it, you want to think of something new. And I think people might often use it with that word, ideas, to come up with new ideas. Let's see. What else? We have used. So, okay, Michelle Leonardo asked the difference between used, if you use something or you use something up. So in that case, I think of if you use something, it's just talking about something you need. Like for example, I use a broom to sweep the floor. If you use something up, in that case, again, like talking about like finish up. You use something up, you finish the rest of it. It's complete. There's no more. You use it up. So in that case, I'm trying to think of a situation in which you might use it. Wait, okay. Let me add those. So I added come up with. So I'm trying to think, you might tell somebody, let's use this up. So because I was talking about a broom, let's think of like some cleaning supplies, that you have something and instead of it's almost done and you're thinking about buying some more. You say, hey, before before we buy some more, let's use this up. And then it's finished before we get some new stuff, some new product, whatever it is. So something that you want to use up. And I would feel like it's used more when talking about a product, not some type of food. You wouldn't say like, let's use up something that you're eating. But if you're talking about, let's like to use up, I'll add something up because it is separable, to finish what is left. And I'll add like kind of like before getting something new. Before you buy something new, and I think it's often maybe used in that context of like, before you buy something else, let's use this up first. Let's use this up. Let's see. All right. What time are we looking at? Because I know like it goes quickly. These Q&As. I think I am. I think I'm gonna call it right there. I will add all of these phrasal verbs to the description if you'd like to go back and review some of the ones that we've talked about. But this is a great opportunity. Again, I like having this interaction with you guys to be able to connect with you directly and take some of your questions. And again, if you find these lessons useful, if you want to sponsor and support the Interactive English, our YouTube channel, you can check out you can join either YouTube, Patreon. The rewards are the same. There are links in the description down below to that if you want to check that out. So thank you guys again for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. If you have some other questions, what I would encourage you to do, write them in the comments when the video gets posted. Write other questions about phrasal verbs in the comments. I will try to get back to you. But even if I don't, what I would also encourage you to do, even if you're watching this later, help each other out. I think that is a great way, again, for you guys to practice. If you know the meaning of a phrasal verb and somebody is asking the question, go ahead, answer that question, write the answer in the comments. Help each other out. I think that's a great way for all of us to learn, as well as another way for you guys to practice. So thank you so much for joining me today. Let's call it a day. Yes, Abdullah, we're calling it a day. Athanasios, Lali, Michelle Leonardo, Aiden, Andy Sleepwalker, Rosalinda, Harriet. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will see you guys next time. So long.